Welcome to the Irish border, the international boundary between Northern Ireland, part of the United Kingdom, and the Republic of Ireland. As you'll no doubt know, there's a lot of history and modern-day controversy associated with this international border. And in this video, we'll take a brief walk back and forth between Ireland and the UK, as we explore the unique nature of this border, its origins, and its future. Our walk begins on the Lifford Bridge, which spans the large River Foyle beneath us here. And it's this river which forms a significant portion of the 310-mile-long border, at this point separating the Republic of Ireland's County Donegal from Northern Ireland's County Tyrone. Now we're currently walking across the bridge from the Republic of Ireland towards the UK. But as the border itself runs somewhere down the middle of the river beneath us, it's not exactly clear which country we're in at this very moment. We've probably just crossed into the UK, but of course one of the fundamental principles of this international border is its invisibility, completely open for people to travel without any friction back and forth from one country to another. And that's very important for the people living in the town across the river from us here. That is the Irish town of Lifford, a small town of just under 2,000 people, and which is located in a relatively sparsely populated area of countryside in the northwest of the island of Ireland. But the nearest large town to it is actually located just across this bridge. That's Strabane, home to more than 10,000 people and a wide array of shops, making it the place where many people in Lifford go to do their shopping, even though it's located in an entirely different country. Strabane is located in Northern Ireland's County Tyrone, and we're welcomed to the town by this sign telling us to drive carefully, at no more than 40 miles an hour. But if we spin around to look at the other side of the sign, it serves as a welcome to Lifford, where you should also drive carefully, at no more than 50 kilometres an hour. Now speed limit signs like these are about as close as you'll get to an international border post in Ireland, as the border's invisibility means that no passport checkpoints, physical barriers, or even "Welcome to the United Kingdom" or "Welcome to Ireland" signs are placed on the border. At some major crossing points like this, you might see a flag, but that's about it, and for all intents and purposes, this bridge is just a bridge that crosses a river. But how did this situation come about? Well, let's retrace our steps and make our way back across the bridge, out of the UK and into the Republic of Ireland. And as we do that, let's explore the history of this unusually lax international border. For the majority of the last 1,000 years, the island of Ireland was dominated by the rule of English and later British monarchs, nobles and parliaments. English imposition in Ireland began around the time of the 12th century, when Norman nobles, who had completed a conquest of England a century earlier in 1066, set their sights on conquering Ireland. Now, for much of the medieval era, different parts of Ireland were under different levels of English control. Some parts of the island, such as around Dublin, were closely controlled by the English. Other regions, meanwhile, were ruled by English nobles and lords, but had a looser link with the monarchy back in London. And some more rural areas in the island's Midlands and West were entirely free from English control, instead ruled by native Irish clans. But this situation changed in the 16th and 17th centuries, when the English monarchy began stepping up its control in Ireland. Now, this area in the north of the island, a province traditionally known as Ulster, was the most sparsely populated region in Ireland, and also the freest from English rule. But in the early 17th century, King James VI and I of Scotland and England encouraged people from Great Britain to cross the sea and settle here in Ulster, the beginning of a period that began to cause a cultural separation between this part of Ireland and the rest of the island. Now, this process, known as the Plantation of Ulster, was a key factor in the eventual creation of what we now know as Northern Ireland, a region of 6 Ulster counties that are part of the UK. However, we've now made our way back out of Northern Ireland and into the Republic of Ireland, which is made up of 26 counties, including County Donegal here, which is part of the traditional province of Ulster as well. Now, County Donegal is the northernmost county in Ireland, and its county town, the seat of the county council and the rest of local government, is the small riverside town of Lifford here. This bilingual sign welcomes us to Lifford in both English and Irish, while an Irish tricolour flag flies proudly just behind it. So there's no mistaking which country we're in at the moment. But despite this being the Republic of Ireland, the people living here aren't immune to events unfolding back in the United Kingdom. As we mentioned, many people in Lifford travel back and forth to Strabane across the border every day, so for them it's crucial that the border remain open and frictionless. Now, just to give you some context on the banners we're seeing here, this video was filmed in June of 2022, so the situation surrounding Brexit and the Irish border may have changed by the time you're watching. But these posters give a clear indication of the importance of an open border to the people living here. Now, even before the UK left the European Union in 2020, neither it nor the Republic of Ireland were part of the EU's Schengen area of open borders, as this open border derives instead from a much older, independent agreement between the UK and Ireland known as the Common Travel Area. This is where things start to get a bit messy, but if we go back in time just over 100 years, from 1916 onwards, the Irish Republican movement was rapidly gaining steam. And in 1919, Republican soldiers took up arms against the British in the Irish War of Independence, which they won. That war was brought to an end with an agreement known as the Anglo-Irish Treaty in 1921, which created the independent Irish Free State. But it also afforded a recently created government in Northern Ireland, composed of 6 majority unionist counties here in Ulster, the right to opt out of independence should they choose to do so. And that's exactly what happened, with the Northern Irish government choosing to remain part of the UK, while the Irish Free State became independent. But despite this point becoming an international border, the two countries agreed in 1923 to create the Common Travel Area, with no physical border, and an agreement that allowed British and Irish people to travel back and forth between the two countries as they wished. Now, the River Foyle here is an extreme example of a clearly visible barrier between the UK and Ireland. Most of the modern 310-mile border runs through farmland and the odd village, and it's based on the historic boundaries of Irish counties, which were never designed to divide separate nations. But since 1923, the border has remained largely open, although during the Troubles of the late 20th century, when Northern Ireland was embroiled in 3 decades of conflict, the British Army set up military checkpoints on major roads crossing the border. The Lifford Bridge here, for example, was the site of a checkpoint until the late 1990s, and as such it was the target of a number of attempted bombings during the Troubles, though none was successful in destroying it. After the Good Friday Agreement of 1998, which brought the Troubles to an end, all military checkpoints were removed from the border by 2005, leaving cross-border roads like this open to frictionless traffic. And as we now find ourselves back in the UK, that's a very basic summary of how we ended up with this unique border today. Of course, there is a lot more complexity to the history that we've only briefly explored on this walk, and things may indeed change in future. But here's hoping that this wonderful part of the world remains free of physical barriers as it has done for much of the last 100 years, and that the people from both sides of the border can continue to travel back and forth as easily as they do today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it interesting to see this much discussed border up close. I'll leave you with a tranquil view towards the Republic of Ireland across the River Foyle, a beautiful rural stretch of a border with a wealth of history.